What is up? Tom Dark, Turkey Tom Nation, how's it going? It's good to be back. Today, we're gonna be reacting. I'm gonna hopefully look at some other drama videos. I don't really know what's going on in the community, to be honest. A little out of touch. The Sneako debate with Critical. There's like FNAF YouTuber drama. Let's get right into the news. So I think the first thing we're gonna do today is watch the Sneako debate with Critical. Should be interesting. I've seen some of it already. Like I said, I've seen like half of it, so we'll watch the entire thing today and I'll react to it. Let's watch this.
We'll use our beef, for example. You think I'm weak for not taking you up on a boxing fight. But on the same side of that coin, you won't take Brandon Buckingham up on that boxing fight. The whole point was I don't stand by my beliefs because I won't fight you for it. Well, with that perspective, why wouldn't you fight Brandon Buckingham when you feel so strongly about your beliefs and he says the same things I do?
The internet and people like the billboard collage dislike Andrew Tate from the start because of what he talks about, because he comes off arrogant. I'm top G, I'm the alpha male, and people get triggered because they're in their room, they're playing games, and everything he talks about goes against what they're about. So when he goes to jail falsely, people find it fun because finally the guy that goes against everything I believe in is in jail and can't talk anymore. It's not fun because it's like this goofy story. People like you were genuinely happy that they went to jail.
The content I make is just purely entertainment, like things I find fun. Now, I do give my perspective on issues, like on things that I'm passionate about, like Cuties. We'll tie it back to Cuties. When I saw that film, and
does Turkey Tom like Charlie? I do like Charlie.
The way it was advertised with children twerking on the cover, it made me very upset and very concerned that pedophilia was going to be more normalized, because now you have Netflix with a front page catalog piece that I consider, and many others consider, to be child porn.
Yo, do you know Moist Critical?
Moist Canyon video.
Yeah, we saw What did you think of the Meat Canyon video?
I thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Hey, Charlie, what's up, man?
It was funny.
How's it going, man?
About it.
Cool.
Hey, Charlie. We squashed the beef.
Oh, that's awesome, dude.
Yeah. Discussion with you about Cuties since I dropped that video back in 2020.
How time flies, man. Well, better late than never.
So, have you seen the movie?
Yeah, so you mentioned you saw my video, so you know I didn't finish the movie. I physically couldn't. I found it just to be completely repulsive.
Haven't you seen a lot of other movies that have repulsed you before? I watch horror movies. I watch movies that are provocative quite a bit.
Yeah, but this is something I feel isn't being recognized. There's a difference between being repulsed by fiction, which is like horror movies, you know, that's not real, and being repulsed because there's real children doing sexual things. You can't fake that. The actresses were 11 to 13 years old. They were twerking. There was some very gross scenes in there, and like the cameras would zoom in on their chest and their ass and their crotch. Like, that's a very different kind of repulsed.
That's what we agree on. I don't agree that those scenes are good. I don't agree with the sexualization of children. I defend the movie because I defend the morality of the movie. And I think that most people that were disgusted have seen those clips or didn't watch the whole movie like you. So that movie was taken out of context quite a bit. People don't really see the moral of the movie, which was defending Islamic values and also pointing out the very real problem that young girls have going on social media and doing these dances. I agree that it's disgusting. I agree that those scenes are repulsive, but I think you could be repulsed by TikTok and pretty much what young girls are doing on social media every single day as well.
I actually I haven't seen Cuties as well, so that's why I haven't gone super in-depth on this issue. From what I've heard, I think I would agree with Charlie if I saw the movie, but just because of how gross the scenes were that I saw from it, I basically have just avoided it entirely. I think the most detailed description I've seen was the Mr. Girl review of it, and given that he liked it, that was enough for me to not really want to delve into that movie too much. So yeah, it's probably pretty fucking gross. That being said, I kind of like Sneako's point here because, you know, I don't have TikTok, but if you guys have ever used TikTok, you know that there's plenty of like extremely popular videos of underage girls dancing and like revealing clothing. I mean, Charlie D'Amelio, you know, just as one great example, was probably like 15, 16, 17 or something when she got famous, and she got famous for dancing in revealing clothing on TikTok. And I don't know if that's necessarily TikTok's fault inherently, because the fact that it is so popular, you know, to like half of the story is so popular because people want to see that, right? People like that. The other side of that is like TikTok allows that kind of stuff. And I think when you're running social media, you probably should not allow underage girls to dance in scantily clad clothing, you know, whether it's for a purpose explicitly or not, people are going to get that out of it, and I think that's probably a bad thing to allow that to be normalized in any way. I mean, and I don't want to blame Charlie D'Amelio, because ultimately she's just kind of a cog in this machine that is social media. I mean, she probably just wanted to dance and didn't think anything of it. What about underage boys? Well, that's definitely a problem as well. It gets clicks, so they allowed it for a while. Exactly. I think children on TikTok should be something brought to light, but at best, Cutie's using that excuse to mask the foul nature of it. Here's the thing: whether or not Cutie's intention was, some people say it's to be child porn, to be pro-pedo propaganda. Some people say that the whole goal of it is to highlight that. Someone like Sneako, he thinks that it was to call that out, right? He thinks it was kind of a response to the sexualization of children. Whether or not, either way, it still sexualizes children in the process. The child actresses were exploited and put in compromising positions, putting cameras in places they really shouldn't be, sexualizing these children in ways that should only be done to, fully grown adults. And that's bad. That's really bad. That being said, Sneako may have a point here about its intention, but I don't know that its intention really matters. Tom, you have to watch some scenes of Cuties. It's really bad. I've seen probably the worst scenes because they were just posted on Twitter when it came out. So I remember some of it being very rough, but I haven't seen the whole thing. So I'm just going to avoid that, to be honest with you.
I think that people outraged at that film should also be outraged at everything that girls are doing now on Instagram, TikTok, and all these apps.
But here's the thing. So let's break it down to the very bare essentials. Can children consent?
Wasn't Mr. Girl just trolling in his Cuties video? I don't think so. I think he said that he actually felt that way and it turned him on. That's my understanding. I could be wrong. I don't think it was a parody, as far as I know.
No, they can't. We agree.
So then why do you think it's excusable to exploit them after having them sign up for this film? If you admit they can't consent, how can they possibly give the okay to be shaking their ass and having a camera all up in their shit while they're doing simple things like that scene where she takes a picture of her vagina, the scene where they're doing literal, like, toying around with cam sites? Like, that's very different. Like, no one is disputing the message, right?
I agree with the intention of the movie. I don't think that those scenes are good. That's what we completely agree on. But I think that was an important movie to point out how many people get sucked into this world. I think that was needed. That movie was needed to be made. And I also don't think that movie encouraged files to go and cite and look at these girls. I think that they're more likely to go on TikTok and find girls that they're attracted to. I don't think that this really attracted people to these girls.
But I think the main issue with that is that the movie ultimately didn't really accomplish that goal. It just came across as extremely offensive and nobody really wanted to watch it or hear what they had to say, even if they had some kind of good intention with it, right? So that would probably be the problem there.
Well, it's not like I'm here arguing that this movie created pedophiles, right? But what it did is it delivered a film that they would watch for totally different reasons than the message. Again, the message isn't something that I or pretty much anyone has an issue with. The message is, like you mentioned, the social media poisoning them, making them do the sexual things, which is a problem. But this movie contributes to it since it still used real children to sexualize them, to showcase it. That's the issue. You didn't need it to be children.
I don't think it contributes to it, because when you see girls doing this on TikTok, they don't know.
I don't see girls doing it on TikTok, though, is the thing, right? The only people that would are going to be the pedophiles. They would go and search that out. This movie was advertised on Netflix.
No, that's not true. Every time, I don't have TikTok on my phone, but once in a while before I was banned, I would go on there, and the first 3 videos would be the same thing that you see on Cuties. And that's why I uninstalled the app. That's why I refuse to have it on my phone, because it's directing you to those images.
And this I actually would agree with. I think that's disgusting. That's real. That's real. I don't have TikTok. That's one of the reasons. Someone says self-report. I don't think that's a self-report for him. TikTok recommends a lot of weird shit, man. In fairness, when I went on TikTok, I didn't get that stuff, but I don't think, you can say self-report, I don't think Sneako was looking for that. I don't think Sneako's a pedophile at all. I don't think he's attracted to kids. I don't think he looked for videos of underage girls dancing.
The problem. I'm not disagreeing.
Tom looks like Osama bin Laden.
But that doesn't make this film.
We agree. But we just disagree that I think the movie was important to point out a flaw. Personally, I never empathized with girls being directed to that site before I saw that movie. That really made me understand what it's like to be a girl and grow up in that age.
I think yes, we agree that it is disgusting, but you are excusing it because you believe it highlights a very real issue, which it does, but it contributes to that issue by using children.
I don't like this thing where everyone who talks about this shit online gets called a pedo themselves. He's not a pedo. He's absolutely not.
Have to use kids. You recognize that, right?
I don't like
Sneako. They didn't have
He's
to
not
use
a creep.
Kids. But I also look at the director and I look at the moral of the movie, and I don't think that it was anything unsafe, and I don't think that the director had any bad intentions making it. So maybe it shouldn't have been as sexualized, but I defend the morality of the movie, and I also defend the effect that it had on me. when I watched that, that made me have a new perspective.
Do you see why that's kind of concerning to hear? Because in the time that I watched that film, there were unreal amounts of sexual scenes. In fact, the majority of the movie was them doing like the dance routines where they're smacking each other's ass, zoomed in on them shaking their ass in the camera. There's that scene where a security guard's like, "What are you girls doing here?" And they're like, "We're dancers." He's like, "Prove it." So they start twerking for him, and he's like, "Oh, great, get in here." Like, that is a problem. No matter how you spin it. Again, the message is fine. There was never anything wrong with the message, and maybe the intention of the director was...
How would you tell the director to convey the message in a different way?
You would just not use children. You could deliver the same message and you don't use children. The problem is
I don't think it would be effective. I don't think it would be as effective. It's
So
unfortunate that it's misinterpreted, but you couldn't be able to have that effect and show how provocative and how dangerous it is without using kids. Of course, the shots probably did not need to be that bad, but when I watched that, I was absolutely disgusted. And what I'm surprised about is that you are against wokeness. It doesn't seem like you've ever directed any energy towards how dangerous wokeness can be, which is exactly what that movie's about. It's saying how important Islamic values are in the face of wokeness. It's about a Western African family, Islamic. They go to France.
The wokeness conversation is very frustrating for me because Sneako seems obsessed with the idea that every content creator needs to do exactly what he does, right? He thinks every content creator needs to preach about the evils of wokeness and talk about how being red-pilled is such a good thing. And, you know, I'm kind of indifferent to to which ideology is. Actually, I'm not indifferent, you know. I don't like the woke either. I don't like it. And politically, on some things, I definitely agree with Sneako. But at the same time, I think that the way he goes about it is dumb. I think his packaging is dumb. I think the way he puts out his message is really bad and cringy. And I also think that it doesn't make you a better person to push that ideology as a content creator. I think it's perfectly okay to just make videos for fun and not try to be a part of some like political agenda to save the West or whatever, you know?
Completely woke country that's now being burned alive and women are running around topless. Wokeness has consumed France. And it's pointing out a proper solution to this problem, which is embracing Islamic values.
Who was the director of the film? Do you know?
Her name is Maminou Doucouré. Maminou Doucouré, I think that's her name. She's a Western African woman, and she moved to France. So I imagine that she had a very similar experience, and she was trying to portray what it was like growing up.
So the message of the movie is about social media, and almost exclusively. She directed the film based on seeing some children in a neighborhood doing dances and wondering, how did it get to that point? This isn't okay. So the movie was supposed to be about how does a child get to that point, and it's about how social media is poisoning them, and they're constantly comparing themselves. They're seeing these things, so they're putting on makeup and they're doing sexual shit, and they never really understand why or the consequences of it. It's not a critique on wokeness, though. Of course, anything in the art field you can derive your own meaning from. I recognize that almost everything you encounter in life you tie back to either cancellation or wokeness, but in this film in particular, this is a movie I really feel conflicts hard with your ideology. Under no circumstances should children be sexualized, is where I stand. Do you disagree?
There's a lot of things in movies, like I don't agree with incest in Star Wars, but Star Wars has incest scenes. I don't agree with incest, but it's portrayed.
It's not real incest, though. This is real children being sexualized. It's not fake. These are 11...
I agree. But I'm defending the point of the movie.
You can defend the point of the movie, but you can still condemn the movie itself. The point can stand on its own 2 feet, right? Like, there is a problem, which you recognize, with kids being sexualized, in specific on TikTok. That is a problem in and of itself. But you can still condemn this film for contributing to the thing it's supposed to speak out against, which is sexualizing children, which you have admitted it does. And it didn't need to, like you said. That is the problem.
Maybe they shouldn't have used child actors, but I agree with the point of the movie. But how do you think that the point could have been conveyed in a better way? You think should they have used 18-year-olds to play 11-year-olds?
That's exactly what most movies have done for a long time.
Why is Sneako obsessed with defending this movie? If at certain points he walks back its execution, he says they shouldn't use children, they should use this. Why even defend it at that point? Like, just say you agree with the message, but it's terrible execution. I think most people could even come to the terms of admitting to that, right, or of agreeing with that, even if they at one point were an ardent defender of cuties. But he seems obsessed with this, planting his feet in the sand and defending this movie somehow. I don't really know. It doesn't really make sense. It feels like stubbornness for the sake of nothing, you know?
Quick example is The Last of Us using Bella Ramsey to portray a 14, 15-year-old. Like, you can do that, and that's a lot more acceptable because there is no longer a victim. Like you had said, children can't consent. These kids could never fully consent to being sexualized in this film like this on the big screen.
I would argue that when they use 30-year-olds and 27-year-olds to play high schoolers like in Euphoria and like in 13 Reasons Why, it actually sexualizes kids more because we start to mature high schoolers and we think of them in a different way. People in their 30s and their late 20s get addicted to euphoria and they have ideas and they start romanticizing teenagers in a different way because they don't use actors in that way and they make them look more mature.
That's a completely separate conversation you can make arguments for, but that doesn't work here because it sexualizes already real.
Charlie's surprisingly good at debating. I know he said he doesn't really do debates and he wanted to just have a conversation, but when Sneako says something and tries to misdirect it or do like whataboutism, Charlie is very good at bringing the point back and keeping it kind of in line and not letting him get away from it, right? Because a lot of the time when you say something to Sneako or you compare something, he'll say, oh, well, what about this? Or what about this? Or what about this? Like compared to this. And it's like some of the comparisons may be fair, but it kind of gets away from the actual point, which is Charlie aggressing the arguments that Sneako made. So, I just appreciate that Sneako's good at that. He seems good.
Children, right? So I think you're getting hung up on like the what ifs and like whataboutisms on other sides, but the core doesn't change. So let me give you an example. It is realistic to use kids for the message, right? Because it's about kids. Well, what if the child was naked doing the vagina pic? If they showed the kid's vagina, is that now too far? It's still realistic.
That's too far. So there's two ways the movie could have been changed to be more effective and that people would understand the message. One, they could have used child actors and they should not have been sexualized in that way. Or two, they could have been 18 plus and it could have been sexualized, but then it wouldn't have been as effective. One of the two should have changed. I agree.
Okay. So then do you think there's like levels to sexualization of kids that is acceptable and then unacceptable?
No, this is never acceptable to sexualize children, but
then we agree. So then can we then say, since this film sexualized children, I can't really champion the film. However, the message is okay. Like I like the message.
I agree completely. But the reason I defend that movie is because I think everybody just saw those scenes and looked past the message and looked past the good moral that the director had when making it.
That could very well be the case for some people, right? 100%.
I would say most people who hate the movie haven't seen it. Most of the people accusing me of being a pedophile for defending the movie haven't seen it. Have no idea what it's about. They've just seen those scenes.
That's true. And calling him a pedophile is wrong. He's not a pedophile. And I mean, admittedly, I haven't seen it. I can criticize the movie all I want, but I haven't seen it, which is why I haven't gone that hard on this point and said that that's one of the reasons I hate Sneako, right? He just wants to sound smart by saying he sees the deeper meaning. I don't think he wants to sound smart. I think he thinks he actually is. I think that's why he's doing this stuff. I think he thinks that he's genuinely right. And on one hand, you have to respect him for sticking to his guns. There have been times when people demand that I apologize for something or change my opinion on something. And I say, fuck you. No, I'm not going to. I'm not going to cower to the Twitter retards and just say what they want me to say when I feel a certain way about something. But at the same time, it feels like his reasoning for this is not super strong. You know what I mean? He doesn't seem super entrenched in the idea. It's just more the idea of defending it rather than what the movie itself represents,
But they're also still not wrong for being upset about those scenes.
Sneako is NPC with the cuties.
I think they should be more upset.
Wouldn't it be the opposite of NPC? Because the NPC represents what the average person thinks, right? I'm not saying he's right, but the NPC represents what the average person thinks. The average person probably hates cuties and thinks it's disgusting. He doesn't seem to think that. He seems to have a different opinion, which you should probably, respect him for a little bit. I got to defend Sneako at some point. I can't constantly villainize him,
At the problem. I think people should direct that anger instead of calling me a pedophile on the internet. They should look at the system that turns these girls into sexual objects at a young age and be more angry at that. That is the real issue. That is the bigger problem at large.
They do, though. It's not mutually exclusive, like where it's one or the other.
Do they? Do you?
Do I what? Talk about the problem?
Do you direct that anger? I see you follow the narrative that's popular on social media, but I don't see you ever direct it at the problem. Do you agree that wokeness is one of the biggest problems that corrupts kids nowadays?
Define wokeness.
Wokeness is the liberal ideology, is feelings over facts. I identify this way because I feel like it. There's no gender. Nothing matters. I do as I want. Everything that's promoted on social media.
Do you realize half of what you just described is how you've lived your life for the last year? Like feelings over facts, for example. You champion bullying. You think bullying needs to come back. I have never canceled you. Can you recognize that? I've actually always spoke out against deplatforming, if you've ever noticed. I spoke out against it.
No, but you were also disingenuous. When I called out the Soy Boy collage, you were like, these people just hurt my feelings. Most of those people actively advocated
Yeah, that's not true. Most of them did not actively advocate for deplatforming. I don't think it was one. I think Charlie is wrong. It's like 3. Hassan, Nick is not green, probably Ethan Klein, but that's it. I don't think anyone else advocated for that. I don't advocate for Sneako being banned. What's his name probably does. Noah Samson, he probably thinks Sneako should be banned, if I had to guess. Charlie doesn't think he should be banned. I don't know one of the people in the collage. One of the dudes with the glasses. I don't know who it is. So it's more like half and half. But I don't think Sneako should be banned or canceled. I think he should be criticized, but, you know, I'm against cancel culture. I'm against deplatforming. I think he should be allowed to have a platform and speak. That's the thing that not a lot of people agree with. A lot of people are glad he's banned. I don't feel that way at all. I think it's dumb.
Cancellation?
Nick is not green is the
That's
only
not
person.
True. That's not true. Ethan Klein celebrated and clapped when I was banned and said, good. Finally, this misogynist is banned.
That's making fun. That's not him championing it. He wasn't out there leading a charge against you. When it happened, he
and there was
laughed at
another
you.
one as well. The Nick is not green friend, the identical, the bigger one, the Bob's Burger look. He also was advocating for my cancellation.
Is that Mr.
That was
Beard?
a big reason why I grouped them all together, not because they hurt my feelings. What happens on the
Is Mr.
internet, I
Beard Bob's
understand.
Burger?
It's good to have back and forth. Bullying is good because it makes you have to develop your character in a different way. That's not why I was upset. I was upset because a lot of these people were secretly happy or secretly hoping that I was going to get banned because they disagree with my ideology.
But then why am I on that list when I only ever spoke out against deplatforming? That seems like I'm there because I hurt your feelings.
I'm curious to see where Sneako's feelings and all this goes, because I feel like he's in kind of a unique position right now where he's kind of been outcasted by the internet as a whole. No one really likes him, so I wouldn't really blame him for being more black-pilled, but at the same time, his whole brand is built off of being like pulling yourself out of the shit rather than giving into it. So
you didn't hurt my feelings.
drug
I thought it
addicts.
was funny because you do look like the rest of them.
I don't understand how, but we're not here to get into the nitty gritty, I guess.
do we all look? Is it just like a white dude with like facial hair? Is that the problem? Is it just me?
All white people look gay.
White dude with facial hair and earrings? Is that it? I'm not white either. I'm Bulgarian. Okay.
Yeah, so this is my people, dude.
You have to acknowledge that the people in that collage look very similar. Overall, and you can see it with the Fresh and Fit video that you still haven't corrected, where you called Fresh a virgin. A lot of it, and you see people that hate me, they're like, oh, this alpha male, this alpha male, this alpha
Why does it
male
make him
Sneako.
so mad
And
that
I've
Fresh got
never
called a
once
virgin?
Called myself that.
Is it
I
that
don't
big
think
of
I'm
an
an
insult
alpha
to
male.
them?
I advocate
If they get
towards
so much
things that
pussy,
are
like, why does it
conservative. I advocate towards
upset them so
Islamic
much?
values. That
Why does it
doesn't
make them
mean
so
that
insecure?
I think I am an alpha male.
Like, you think if you were
I've
fucking
never
all
called
the
you
time,
an alpha.
being called a virgin once in a while would not bother them.
You're
That is
talking
the
to
general
someone.
consensus, though. You've called my friends that. You've called Fresh and Fit that, and you haven't.
They call
corrected
them.
when
You are really hung up on fighting for the honor of Fresh and Fit. What I did was exactly what you preach. I made fun of him. Calling him a virgin is a joke. Do I think he's actually a virgin? Probably not. No, I really don't.
You said there's no chance that he's had sex with 1,000 women or one woman, and that he's giving advice to lonely men and has no experience with men, when that's not the case at all. Overall, the attitude towards the people I put in the collage is men who actively play video games all day, who push wokeness to some degree or another, and then when somebody speaks out against that, they try to go at their character rather than go at the message that they're trying to promote.
Okay. I would like to point out a couple of things. A lot of the things you critique the woke for are ones that you actively partake in. Victimization, that's a big thing with the woke, right? Constantly playing the victim. Do you recognize how often you play the victim in terms of like, I'm being canceled, everyone's against me, you go on your Discord to talk more about it.
The dog's
Even
not
this
mine, by
morning,
the way, it's
talking
the
and
debate
naming and
audio.
shaming people that you think have slighted you as like a cancellation. You do the exact same things. Like, you are also an SJW.
That's not victimizing. That's actively pointing out that literally every streamer, the entire internet, all of YouTube reacted to your video. I drop a response where I even apologize for going out of character and getting emotional, and then nobody wants to see what I have to say.
But I feel like that's not anyone else's fault but his, because he constantly treats himself like a caricature. When he is supposed to seriously, intellectually argue with people, he acts like a fucking child. He waves his gun around. He calls people soy boys. He doesn't afford anyone else the charitability he wants. You know, he's willing to criticize anyone for, you know, ad hominem attacks. He's willing to go after them for their girlfriend, for the way their girlfriend looks, for the fact that they're monogamous, for the fact that they're a soy boy. But now he affects to be treated charitably. Like, why would anyone ever give him that light of day, you know? It doesn't make sense.
I've become a caricature on YouTube rather than somebody who has something to say. I've become a meme because I am banned. That's not victimizing. That's actively pointing out how strong censorship is and how people on mainstream platforms can run with the narrative when you're not there.
The way you just justified it is a way many other people that you call playing the victim would also be able to justify things. The point is, when you are constantly whining and talking about how you're being attacked, it is still being victimized. But regardless, we're getting off track. One of the things that you also talk about is the frequent posting on Twitter and like the poisoning that Twitter does on the mind, the brain rot, which is something I fully agree with. But you have over like 20,000 tweets. You are on Twitter more than pretty much anyone I know, especially like talking about, you know, being the victim and constantly promoting things, which is something you also call out. You were upset when I made a joke about using you for merch pushes for me. But that you literally do that under every tweet you make, and you make like 20 a day, it feels like half the time.
When did I say I was upset about the merch push?
You took a screenshot of my DMs and you were like, here's the true face of a YouTuber just using drama for views and ad sales, merch sales, whatever.
And that was so stupid because everyone uses drama for views. Sneako uses drama for views. That's literally how he got his audience, from starting shit with other people. And then he tries to get them to acknowledge him over on YouTube so he can funnel their viewers over to Rumble.
It's disingenuous, and now we're having the debate, but you would rather DM and go and make this about drama. Oh, let me go and react and do more drama content rather than have a conversation.
But I never
and I'm
did
glad
that.
You're doing it now.
But you have to remember that I didn't start any of this. You reacted to me telling jokes about your friend and then had your audience tell me, and that went on for like 2 weeks. And so eventually I explained why I don't like you. And then when I did that, that was the only time I planned on talking about you. You went on stream with your gun to threaten me, and you kept it up for 3 months, adding me.
I didn't do that to threaten you. That was a joke about clips. You actually think I was threatening you.
Whether or
you're
not
gonna
you
talk
were.
about victimized, you're gonna think. Okay, you're gonna say victimized. You're gonna say I'm actively trying to threaten you by saying a clips joke on a stream.
I don't think you were actually coming after my life. It doesn't change the fact that for 3 months you continued to carry it on. I wasn't reacting to you. I wasn't even talking about you. But then you keep pushing it, and then you keep...
Exactly, this is the thing.
I don't want to bring in
he's
my
always
girl...
playing the victim, being like, you started the drama, you used me for views, but Sneako constantly picks fights with people, including Critical. He constantly shit talks him. How would it not make sense for him to talk about him in a video or on stream, right? Pulling a gun on stream is funny. I don't think he was actually threatening him, right? I don't think he was actually threatening to come kill him. I don't think Sneako's that unhinged. That being said, if you constantly pick fights with people, like if I was constantly prodding some YouTuber that was bigger than me to fight me and then they fought with me, I can't be mad at that, you know? If like Ethan Klein like made a video about me, I can't cry because he's so much more famous than me. I should talk to him for years, of course. Like, why wouldn't he? Joe Mega for 2 says he went with the it's a prank bro route.
Girlfriend or anything, but you did just keep going, so I talked about you again. I'm not constantly talking about you, right? I'm not farming drama off of you, but you use all of these...
You farm drama off of the people that push the exact same message.
You never know nowadays, man. There are legit psychos on the internet. Yeah, but Sneako has shown no history of violence whatsoever. Okay, you can say you never know, but with Sneako, I feel like this is the problem. When someone's annoying on the internet, there tends to be this thing where everything just tends to go, everything goes all of a sudden. And so the idea now is like, oh, well, because Sneako did this, because he's annoying, because he's cringy. Now, oh, he likes cuties, he's a pedophile. Oh, he said he has stuff on his TikTok, that means it's self-report. Oh, he had the gun, that means he actually wanted to kill Charlie. And I think that's dumb. I think that's a dumb way to think about it. I don't think Sneako's a violent person. He's not a predator. He's not a I don't think he's self-reported. You can hate someone and think they're dumb and cringy without having to have like a life-ruining like accusation towards them. You know what I mean? I think people jump to conclusions like that too quickly, and it's annoying.
And you still haven't corrected the video that I found Fresh and Fit on. But you haven't corrected the fact that you thought that Andrew Tate was...
I don't think Charlie Sneako is a pedo. I don't think he is either, but there were people in my chat and people on Twitter saying he's a pedophile, which is not true. He's not.
Pizza box. Now finally he's free after not having any charges against him, without having any evidence. He was in jail for 4 months. And then people like you push this narrative that he was doxxed by a pizza box.
Waving a gun around a stream should be grounds to restrict their access to guns? No, it shouldn't.
It's your mistakes. You were wrong about Fresh and Fit. You were wrong about Andrew Tate. And you were wrong about the movie Cuties.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you tied it back to Cuties, but before we get back to that, how am I feel like I'm one of the very few people on the internet who corrects himself. Whenever I make a mistake, I do go and make a clarification. For example, I got something wrong with a content creator holding a stand-up competition that was absolute dog shit, and then someone came there and made fun of him, and I didn't know the full context.
This is in reference to Salvo Pancakes and Def Noodles, by the way.
Once I got the full context, I went back and made a follow-up video to explain it in more depth with more clarity. I always do that. With Fresh and Fit, you really hung up on this idea that he fucked 3 women that night after meeting an NBA player at a bar, and they exchanged Instagram information, and it turns out they were Eskimo bros with the same girl's pussy. Like, it's an outrageous story. Now, whether or not it's true, you haven't proved it either. Were you there?
I like that that's what they think is cool, too. Like,
yo, dude, your dick was in her pussy? Well, last night my dick was also in her pussy.
You basically touched your dick to that guy's dick. You've been in the same blown out, busted hole as your best friend and podcast host.
It's actually really cool, bro.
Okay, so you didn't correct that. They did verify the story. You didn't correct it.
Did they have the basketball player and the 3 girls he fucked come on and be like, oh my god, he absolutely plowed the shit out of me. It was the best sex of my life. Did he have...
That would never happen, but he did show the DMs with the basketball player verifying the story and that he did go to the party. Whether or not you want to believe he was with 3 women, I wasn't there either. I guess we're never going to know. But he did get the DMs from the basketball player. You were insinuating in that story that he never even met him and that whole thing was made up and that it's not possible on Instagram.
But I also never...
video apologizing.
Whoa. I don't know if you even watched the video because I did say... The claims were of a pizza box, which was backed by like early onset news. I never said for sure. I talked about how that would be extremely entertaining if that was the case. When I cover something like that, for example,
And why is he mad about this when he said that Brandon Buckingham said he would word for word rape his girlfriend? Why doesn't he apologize for that? Because that's not what he said. He made a joke at Sneako's expense about running a train on his girl because his girlfriend had been by multiple guys at swinger parties with Sneako watching. That's why he said that. He didn't say he would rape her. That's not what he said at all. And Sneako said multiple times, word for word, rape my girlfriend, which is not what he said. Why does he not have the same energy for that situation? You know what I mean? He's a total hypocrite though, you know?
Justin Roiland, I'm sure you followed that. He was recently found innocent on all of the domestic abuse charges.
Maybe
I always said, if these charges are true, and then I'll make jokes about if like these crazy things like the pizza box are true. But I never fully say like this is a true fact. So the pizza box thing being completely fake was never something that I really truly believed in my heart was real or reported on it as a very real thing. Just played with the fun idea if it was because of how silly and outrageous it is. And
why
now
is
Andrew,
that fun? Go back to that point. Why is it fun that 2 men who have no charges or no evidence against them went to jail? But tell me what's the fun idea about 2 men being falsely imprisoned?
the fun idea is they're falsely imprisoned based on a pizza box. It's playing around with the pizza box, not them being in jail.
That's a fun idea to you? That's a fun idea that 2 men, and this is a problem that we should both be aware of, and that men should be aware of, that you can go to jail without any evidence or charges, that the entire internet can lie about you and think it's funny. You
are finding weird ways of taking a fact and running in an opposite direction. The humor is if right now, Sneako, the authorities busted in and said, Charlie, we noticed your first edition Pokemon card behind you is fraudulent. That's a crime. You're going to jail. You would probably laugh because it's so outrageous and silly. Just like being doxxed by a pizza box leading to prison time is outrageous. And
why is Sneako so mad about this? I thought he was about like bringing back bullying and like laughing at stuff that is supposed to be off limits to the general culture. Why is he so mad about someone laughing at the pizza box thing? The pizza box thing was obviously fake, by the way. That was not the case. It's funny as an idea, as a meme. It's obviously funny. Why would he not get that?
Don't be disingenuous. That's not why you think that's funny. There's the internet and people like you that I put in the Soulboy collage dislike Andrew Tate from the start because of what he talks about, because he comes off arrogant. I'm top G. I'm the alpha male. And people get triggered because they're in their room, they're playing games, and everything he talks about goes against what they're about. So when he goes to jail falsely, people find it fun because finally the guy that goes against everything I believe in is in jail and can't talk anymore. It's not fun because it's like this goofy story. People like you were genuinely happy that they went to jail.
I don't recall celebrating or pumping my fist. Last night I was even talking about it. I'm not out there celebrating, lighting the streets on fire.
Everyone's looking for like an internet father figure right now. And these guys obviously are not the greatest option. But
I enjoy. What do you think I stand for, Sneako?
I have no idea what you stand for.
Then why do you keep
videos? I don't know what your beliefs are. It's not clear. It's not clear. And I think that now, seeing what's happening to Andrew and Tristan Tate and what's happening to men who push the ideas that I push, I think it should be very clear for everybody watching that you watch a content creator that has a specific ideology. I've watched you like in high school and college, and it's like drama content, you're covering stuff in the news. I have no clue what your belief system is. I've seen your music videos with the Antichrist, and you're smoking weed, and you play a lot of video games, and you kind of like, there's a lot of other commentary channels. You look at the header, it says, we talk about stuff. And I have no idea what position they're coming from because it's not in your best interest to have a point of view. It's better to just cover drama and make AdSense money off of it. If you have a specific ideology that goes against what social media pushes, look where I am.
The thing is, not every person does have a specific ideology. Not every person buys into this like niche political narrative that you ascribe to. Not everyone's in there. And I think if you have a political opinion, you're not obligated to disclose that to the YouTube audience, you know? Especially if you make content about dumb YouTube drama. That's not that serious. I don't think you have to disclose your own personal politics. Most people in this world are relatively reasonable people, but the moment you put a label on their beliefs, people become emboldened by that. If you renounce you're conservative, people who are left-wing get mad at you. If you renounce you're left-wing, people who are conservative get mad at you. It just alienates people unnecessarily, and for that reason, you don't have to. People just don't want to disclose their personal politics because it doesn't benefit them, because politics divides people. The reality of the ideas is that you can bring people together with them, but the moment you put labels on it, you lose. And furthermore, I think that a lot of the content here is stuff that people view as escapism. It's pretty innocent stuff. People just want to, escape to watch. People want to escape their daily lives, which are filled with politics, filled with, a lot of bullshit, to just watch a dumb drama video. It's entertainment. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think you need to have a super serious political prescription for every piece of content you make. I certainly don't. I just want to make entertaining, fun content for people. I have no agenda I'm trying to push, other than being generally pro-free speech. I think that's good for both sides.
The content you used to make, I wasn't super familiar, but I went back and looked. You used to make thought-provoking, more artsy pieces, and then you transitioned more into lecturing and life advice. The content I make is just purely entertainment, like things I find fun. Now, I do give my perspective on issues, like on things that I'm passionate about, like Cuties. We'll tie it back to Cuties. When I saw that film and the way it was advertised with children twerking on the cover, it made me very upset and very concerned that pedophilia was going to be more normalized, because now you have Netflix with a front page catalog piece that I consider, and many others consider, to be child porn. So I would give my perspective on that. This is gross, and here's why. And then I'd list out some of the absolutely repulsive scenes, like the children watching, or like campsites, twerking, being filmed twerking, all of it with real children. That's a real problem. When I'm covering goofy shit like Gwyneth Paltrow being sued for a ski accident, do I need to tie it back into like the woke agenda or something in order for you to get my perspective? I don't think so. It should just be about entertainment. That's always like the core.
It should not be about entertainment. There should be some value that you're adding to your audience. And the reason I criticize you for that is because, like everybody else who hates that movie, they didn't even watch it. You didn't finish the movie. And we both agree. Sexualization of children is bad. We already agree on this point. That movie had a way to point that out. Obviously, it was bad, but I agree with the morality of it. I think that that's a problem, and I think that your audience should pressure you and to have a more specific point of view rather than just saying fun things. You can be funny and still have a point of view. It's getting harder for men out there, and you see it. They go to jail. People laugh about it. It's getting harder for a man to survive in this climate now.
And I have made content on that. It's content I see that you haven't seen. You think one of my big problems with Andrew Tate was
The creativity kit has nothing to do with being lonely. The creativity kit is about making money online. There's no loneliness.
That's still
that is
in my eyes, selling courses, giving people advice that isn't guaranteed to work like that is exploitative and taking advantage of desperate people. You can have a different point of view. That's totally fine. One of the big problems I had with Tate was his business, Hustlers University, charging $50 a month to be part of a Discord server where you're not really getting the tools to succeed. I've seen what goes on in there. It's mainly people just talking at each other. He doesn't really participate. The lessons aren't overly helpful. It's very generic advice that you could find for free on YouTube. So it's charging this high price.
Of course you can find it for free, but having it reinforced by somebody that you look up to is an extremely important thing. And if you think that you're exploiting somebody by charging them $50 a month, there are a lot of case studies in the creativity kit where people have become extremely successful from the information that they found in there. Call it advocating towards lonely men. People have met there and moved to Florida, and they built businesses together, meeting in the creativity kit, finding like-minded people. What's more important than exploiting somebody's money, and what you're glossing over, is exploiting somebody's time. Time is money. And if people are investing their time into watching drama content, fun stuff, let me laugh at someone falsely in prison, they're wasting their energy watching you game for 12 hours. That is a bigger waste of lonely men's time. They're not getting any value from watching you game for 12 hours. They are getting value.
I'd argue there's value in entertainment, there's value in escapism, but on top of that, I think that these online courses are really worthless, and I don't think you're adding very much to the world, to be honest with you. I think that there's a lot of important stuff that you can learn on the internet. A lot of what I learned as far as my job, obviously I learned from the internet, and I've talked about this. College was pretty worthless for me. The best education I've I've ever had was being on the internet, being on YouTube, watching YouTube tutorials, learning from other people who have experience in YouTube, learning how to do tags, metadata, thumbnails, titling, and that's all mostly from experience. But as far as video editing, watching a lot of YouTube videos. As far as writing, watching YouTube videos, reading books, writing myself, reading articles, writing articles. There's a lot you can learn on the internet if you look, and you don't even have to know where to look. For most things, there's a YouTube tutorial for it. There's a great community of people on YouTube who are doing tutorials about this kind of stuff. I think that paying for a course that Sneako or Andrew Tate makes is typically pretty worthless. It's very unlikely that you're going to have the most qualified people in anything there, unless what you're trying to be qualified in is the lover boy method of human trafficking, or how to, manage OnlyFans girls or be a pimp. If you want to do that, maybe you can take their advice. Apart from that, these courses are pretty much bullshit peddled to stupid people to make money off of them. And more power to them. I mean, I wouldn't say it's necessarily a scam. I think that a scam implies that there's something within it that you're not getting. I would argue that everything they market is what's offered in the courses. It's just something that's unnecessary you can get anywhere else.
From paying $50 a month and learning the secrets from somebody who's been doing this for 10 years.
But
What's a better use of your energy? $50 on a course from vetted millionaires, or watching a gaming streamer for 6 hours every night?
He didn't use the course to get rich. He's getting rich from the course, the same way that the course that you're selling is not like your main way that you made money. You are making money from that course now, as opposed to what the course is teaching. But again, this is getting completely sidetracked.
That's just not true. That's not my main source of income. I enjoy doing it, and it's a great way to have a network. And you talk about all the lonely men that are out there. What are you doing to go and help these people? We understand that there's a problem with loneliness of men. People get in there, they ask me questions about how do I network better? How do I find people who are like-minded? You give them advice, and you can see them transform their life. I'm curious as to what you think is a better alternative, because you stream gaming for 6 hours. Is that a better solution to men who are lonely watching you play video games? Or giving advice?
I don't think that Charlie is necessarily, I don't think he's obligated to offer a solution. I don't think he is. I think he can just play games and people can find it entertaining. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think video games are bad, generally speaking. A lot of people are not comfortable with this take. They're not ready for it in the same way they're not ready for my take on weed, on marijuana. But I think that, generally speaking, video games are bad. I think they're a waste of time. I think it's, useless escapism. In moderation, it can be fine, but there are people I've known who will sink hours and hours and hours into Skyrim, and you just get nothing out of that. You're wasting your life. You should be making money. You should be working a job. You should be at the gym trying to improve your life. And you can say that's hypocritical for me because I play video games on a stream, but that's also part of my job, and not everyone is in that position. There are exceptions. There are people who will make money off of playing video games. There are some people, but for the average person, I think that you should be spending your time playing video games. If it's more than like an hour a day, you need to be spending that time elsewhere. You need to be spending it at the gym. You need to be spending it working extra hours, learning how to cook, literally anything. Anything is better than video games. And the same applies to smoking weed, frankly. And so I agree with Sneako and the average sentiment, but his prescription I don't think is a good idea. His diagnosis I agree with. Video games are a problem for a lot of people. Joe Rogan actually talked about this, and people gave him a lot of shit for this take. Gamers were being so retarded about it, but Joe Rogan had a really good take about this. I've talked about it before in videos as well. The comments are so cringy, man. By Joe's logic, listening to a podcast is a waste of time. These people are insufferable. These are the gamers gotta go. People on the internet used to say, "What's up, gamers?" I'm gonna start saying goodbye, gamers. Goodbye, gamers! Goodbye, gamers! I've had enough of you. Enough video games. We're gonna watch what Joe said, and I'm gonna read chat and respond, and I'm gonna destroy the non-believers.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
I found, I don't know if you agree with this, there were a ton of kids along the way growing up as I was building my business. I'm not into that, kind of like you described yourself.
Yeah.
And they don't do anything because they're looking for that thing. And I would argue, do something. Do fucking something until you find that thing.
Yeah, I've never been that kid though. I've always been into things. I was into art. I always found things that I was interested in. Just none of them seemed like they were normal things that other people wanted to do for a living, like the path, like a career path. But I think that there's a lot of people that don't have any. There's no one. They're not modeling their life after someone that they see that they admire. Someone that's successful, someone that is doing something that they enjoy and love. Sometimes kids have to see that. Right. And if their parents are living a bullshit life and their neighbors live in a bullshit life and most of their family lives a bullshit life, they just fucking lay around, and then they seek refuge in drugs or video games or something that stimulates them. And video games are a real problem. They're a real problem. You know why? Because they're fucking fucking fun.
Addictive.
And you don't, yeah. Well, I have a real problem with them. And you do them, and they're real exciting, but you don't get anywhere.
Right.
It's like you could do like martial arts, right? You could learn jujitsu. You get obsessed by jujitsu. You're like an elite jujitsu athlete. You're entering in competitions. You're a purple belt.
You're moving up.
Yeah, you're doing well. Right. You're thinking like, I might be able to open my own school one day.
You got confidence.
Yeah, if I have 100 students and those 100 students are paying me X amount of dollars per month, I can make a living. I can have this would be amazing. And then you see your jiu-jitsu school and your jiu-jitsu instructor has all these students and drives a Mercedes and he's got a nice family and like, that's the future. This way you're doing something exciting and fun and you don't, or you could just be playing fucking video games. 3 years later, you could be that same kid just playing video games, waiting for the next, whatever the fuck game is, next Xbox game to come out, and you're going to waste your time.
My kids, I don't know if you're going through this, but my kids are now saying, well, Dad, this guy made all this money with this video game. That's
real too. That's real too now.
So like, that's 1 in a billion, kid. Like,
I don't know if it's 1 in a billion, but look, I heard the same argument about comedy. My own parents were like, do you know how few people make it as a comedian? I was like, okay. Does anybody make it? Somebody makes it, right? They figure out how to do it. They make a living. I'm going to do that. Yeah. Just stop. I know what I'm doing. I was real lucky that my parents were not around very much, so I didn't get much advice. So I figured it out myself. So there was no one telling me I couldn't do it. So
green fields.
I was like, I'm gonna find my way through this. And since no one's telling me it's impossible, no one's telling me I can't. Occasionally, I would hear someone say, "What are the odds?" I'm like, listen to this fucking loser. That's my thought. Was always like, that guy's a loser. Like if you think like that, you're a loser. But there are kids that make a lot of fucking money playing video games. But the thing is, like, you have to be adaptable. You have to be able to play multiple video games because the one video game that you get really good at, what are the odds that's going to be around 5 years from now?
Right.
Like, what's the big one now? Like Fortnite. Do they make money off of that? Yeah. Yeah. And then there's Call of Duty. They make money off that. What's the big money? StarCraft used to be the big one, right?
That, League of Legends, Counter-Strike.
Counter-Strike it's still the Half-Life mod?
Yeah, variations of it have come out, but it's still basically the same exact game.
They don't make money off Quake, though, right? Not really.
Nah, really.
No.
One or two guys do, I think.
Yeah, see, it's you got to pick the right game. You could be obsessed with the wrong game.
What are you going to do? You're going to spend 5-10 hours a day in the house?
You have to.
Right.
You would have to.
So yeah, there you go. That's his take. I think it's pretty base, pretty true. I'm sorry to insult some of the fan base, but I have a fear of audience capture, which is a phenomenon in which YouTubers just agree with their audience constantly and take in their opinions. I don't hate any of you guys, even if you're kind of lazy or something, even if you're lazy or smoke a lot of weed or play video games. I don't genuinely hate you. I just want your lives to be better. And for that reason, I feel the need to insult you now and then and argue with chat. I don't want to be beholden to the opinions of my audience and like have to agree with them. You know what I mean? It sounds terrible because then I just have to lie about how I feel for approval of my audience, Let's keep watching.
Advice to men who don't know how to find a community of like-minded people who don't know how to make money online and want to live a lifestyle where,
Thanks
look,
for
I'm
the
in
two.
Japan.
No worries, buddy.
You're still in the same room that I've seen you in since high school.
I can go places. I choose not to. I'm happy here the same way you're happy traveling in Japan. Like, these are non-arguments that you're making. It's the same argument
I've never seen you outside of your room. And I don't know how many years I've seen you on YouTube. I've never seen you out of your room. I've seen you with dildos in your room, throwing it at each other and your friends. I've never seen you travel. I've never seen you network with other people. I've never seen you show your audience what's possible if they make money as well. I've seen you play video games since like 2016.
In one of the clips you showed of me, I am outside at Gasparilla with my girlfriend. What are you talking about?
At what?
Gasparilla is like Mardi Gras, but for Florida. Like, you have literally shown me outside. I don't know why you're trying to make this case that I'm never outside.
You stepped outside in Florida. I've never seen you go to different countries. I've never seen you network with successful men. I've never seen you around a group of men who are on the same page. That's it. The purpose is showing our audience what's possible. A lot of people are.
All right, I don't want to watch this whole thing, guys. I'm gonna be honest with you. I want to watch the Theft King drama. I want to see what's up with this. I don't know the whole deal with Theft King. I don't know all his lore. There's some FNAF YouTuber drama going on right now from this dude named Theft King. I don't watch his channel. I don't know a lot about him. Look at his Twitter. One of the most telling things is that of everyone who has made a drama video about me, I don't think a single one has ever reached out to me. Not unexpected, though. It's pretty silly because it would objectively make the video better regardless of what you think of me. This person says they're down to interview him. Here's your chance. Can you please stop spreading misinformation about us? All right, well, this is Theft King.
Should I send this to his personal email for trolls? Absolutely. Could scare him. They're trying to scare me. They're trying to intimidate me. Yesterday, I had just finished a live stream reacting to MatPat's final FNAF timeline video. Afterwards, I went out to grab some dinner, but when I got back, I found that my Discord had blown up. Several of my Discord moderators had messaged me, indicating that there was something really important they needed to talk to me about. Apparently, a private Discord group, including some FNAF content creators, had obtained my private email address. Want to hear something interesting? Sure, shoot. I posted a video the other day on my second channel of footage I stole from Theft King. It was his atrium footage I got from Coda. The thing is, Theft struck the video down, blocked me on Twitter, and made a tweet about properly using his footage. This is true. I would have never noticed that video, but YouTube has a copyright system where it alerts you and tells you if someone else uploads a video that's incredibly similar to one of your own. In this case, I had captured that footage during a live stream, so it was in YouTube's Content ID system, and it notified me that Underscore had done this. Now, to be clear, I let people use my footage. You're all welcome to use my footage. Just credit me. However, obviously a video titled "Footage I Stole from Theft King" caught my attention, and in this case it was completely unedited. Underscore had literally just re-uploaded my footage. I wouldn't have really cared, but in the description of the video, they said that anyone else was free to use it without credit. That's not true. People are free to use my footage, but they have to credit me, and frankly, it's not Underscore's place to decide how other people So it was in YouTube's Content ID system, and it notified me that Underscore had done this. Now, to be clear, I let people use my footage. You're all welcome to use my footage. Just credit me. However, obviously a video titled "Footage I Stole from Theft King" caught my attention, and in this case it was completely unedited. Underscore had literally just re-uploaded my footage. I wouldn't have really cared, but in the description of the video, they said that anyone else was free to use it without credit. That's not true. People are free to use my footage, but they have to credit me, and frankly, it's not Underscore's.
So is this footage of a game that he recorded? Is that what the issue is? Is it because he recorded FNAF footage? I don't understand. Or is it just like something he made that people are stealing, like an animation or something? I don't totally understand. He says my footage rather than my animation, so my kind of impression of it is it's just video game footage, so maybe it's not something to really be mad about, but this person is intentionally fucking with him, taunting him, being like, I'll re-upload this without credit, and that's probably shitty, right? Not the worst thing ever, but it's his game. So it's gameplay footage. Does he need credit then? I don't know. Does he need credit for this guy used to do heroin before YouTube? I don't really care. Whatever. Hopefully he gets over that addiction.
Place to decide how other people are entitled to use my footage. So naturally, I had the video taken down. The big detail is, if your video gets stricken down, you get the personal email of who struck you down. So there's a chance I have Theft King's personal email address.
Oh, this person is a piece of shit then. They suck, right? Whoever this person is, Underscore.
Nah. Also, he abusing the system now? Excuse me, abusing the system?
Yeah,
the video was literally titled "Footage I Stole from Theft King." It was completely unaltered. Underscore was the one abusing the system by uploading my content and saying it was other people's to use for free. I used the DMCA system as intended. There's no abuse here. The fact that this person accused me of abusing YouTube's copyright system for taking down a stolen video is just all the proof you need that these people are looking for any excuse to try to make me look bad.
So Sleep Live is the person that's being, I think their problem is that they're being bunched in with these other people. This person's voice though. All right. Oh, they follow me. All right. Instant based points. Theft King does not follow me, guys. So instantly we're going to have to say that Sleep Live is coming out on top. I'm joking, obviously. Okay, let's see. Seemingly, Theft wants to sweep everything from these past couple of days under the rug and attempt to hide his blatant slander and multiple attempts to scare me. We can't let this dude continue to do this to people. We need someone big to cover the story, so he's forced to address this. If any content creators are seeing this situation, I implore you to say something, especially FNAF creators. Who's to say you want to attempt these same scare tactics and lies on others? He's a genuine threat to any FNAF content creator.
Even if it's not true or not based in reality whatsoever, they're all full of shit. At this point, Underscore posted my personal email address to the entire group. Not sure what I'm gonna do with it, but that's bad. He's abusing the system. I mean, I technically did steal it. A soul for a soul. Video goes down, I get his email. They're literally like cartoon villains, like they're twirling their mustaches here. It's hilarious. LOL, he did take your soul. What? I didn't do anything to Underscore. The last conversation I had with Underscore was perfectly pleasant. They've just decided that I'm their enemy for some reason. At this point, the group decided to use knowledge of my email to try and intimidate me. Should I send this to his personal email for trolls? Absolutely. Could scare him. There it is, right there. They're trying to scare me. They're trying to intimidate me. That's their goal here. This person who I've done nothing to, who I barely know. Done. Notify if he sees it.
He's 31. Even if he is 31, I mean, he's still being wronged on YouTube, right? He's just, I mean, you can call him cringe all you want for that. And, you know, fair, 31 years old, making FNAF video essays, whatever. You can call it cringe, whatever, but he doesn't deserve to be doxxed. They say acting like, what did he do exactly? I don't totally understand it yet.
Keep checking his Twitter. To be clear, they really did send this email. I got it. This isn't them playing around or hypothetically speculating the pair style. They really did try to intimidate me.
Why does his age
So
matter?
who
Yeah.
are these idiots? The group is made up of several of my former moderators, as well as some FNAF content creators. In particular, Underscore, but also a creator named SleepLive. SleepLive is a Theft King content creator who makes videos about Theft King. SleepLive is not a creator who I know. I've never seen any of their videos, and I've only spoken to them once very, very briefly. However, they have continually made videos about me, presumably because they're the only videos they've ever made that have ever gotten any attention. Fine. If people want to make videos about me, that's okay. They're entitled to.
Yes.
I wish they wouldn't, of course, but like, it's their right. I can't stop them. However, this crosses a line. To obtain my personal information, start sharing it around, and using it to intimidate and harass me, that's not acceptable. I get a lot of harassment. It started ever since the Afton built video came out, but really ever since last July when I told Kane Carter to burn for eternity. I don't talk about most of it because if you talk about the harassment you get, it just encourages more people to harass you. Look at their messages. They literally say, keep your eyes on Twitter, see if he acknowledges it. That's what they want. They're trying to get a reaction out of me. Thus, I don't really talk about the threats or harassment I receive, and frankly, a lot of the threats are not credible. They're from 12-year-old kids.
Is SleepLive harassing him or just criticizing him? What's the issue? I don't know why he's being lumped in with this other stuff. I don't really get it. He's a Theft King content creator, he says. Let's see here. So this is Theft King. So like 5 videos.
Probably. Oh, I'm gonna kill you. However, there have been a couple of serious
guy
threats,
Michael Alberto?
mainly after this video where I revealed that I was
This is
Jewish.
Michael Alberto.
Wanted, treason, and
Wait. Hold up.
not credible. They're from 12-year-old kids, probably. Oh, I'm gonna kill you. However, there have been a couple of serious threats, mainly after this video where I revealed that I was Jewish. Wanted, treason and incitement against Jews. Now would probably be a good time to let everyone know that while I am not religious, I was raised in a secular Jewish family and I had a bar mitzvah and stuff, so I'm like totally comfortable talking about this. Since then, I've gotten some threats from actual skinheads, like actual neo-Nazis. I don't know how credible they are, but they do scare me and I do forward them along to the FBI. Again, I don't talk about these things because it just encourages more people to do it. However, I can't sit by and let these people continue to be prominent members of the FNAF community knowing that they did this. Knowing that these people think that it's acceptable to take someone's personal email, share it with people who hate them, and then use it to try and intimidate and harass them. I'm not gonna sit here and—
What do the skinheads have to do with these kids on Discord? I don't really get it. What do these people have to do with the other people, I guess? Him being Jewish and getting death threats for being Jewish is not connected to these people who fucked with him via the copyright thing and got his personal email, right? That's not related.
think that it's acceptable to take someone's personal email, share it with people who hate them, and then use it to try and intimidate and harass them. I'm not gonna sit here and take that. It's ironic that this former moderator of mine suggested that I was abusing the system because the only one abusing the system are these people. They stole my video, re-uploaded it, compelled me to take it down, used that to get personal info about me, and are now using that to harass and intimidate me. As I said before, I can't stop anyone from talking about me or making videos about me. However, I'm asking _SleepLive and anyone else who is in that chat, please leave me alone. I don't know you guys. I don't talk to you guys. I don't want to talk to you guys. I've never done anything to any of you. All I know about SleepLive is that they made a drama video about me with Walter White in the thumbnail, which is kind of a dick thing to do to someone who's a recovering heroin addict. But
what does Walter White have to do with the heroin? Were they making a joke at the expense of his drug addiction? Or Walter didn't even do the drug, bro? Yeah, Walter was meth, yeah? I don't get what heroin has to do with, or his former heroin addiction has to do with any of this. I also couldn't find that thumbnail. What was it titled?
They hate Theft King so much, all they can say is that like, oh, he makes controversial drama videos, or he told Kane Carter to burn for eternity. Fine, you want to criticize me for those things? You're welcome to. However, it doesn't entitle you to harass me on every tweet I make. It doesn't entitle you to steal my content and then use my takedown in order to get my email address and share it with other people who hate me. It certainly doesn't give you a right to encourage them to send messages to that email address. To be clear, while Underscore wasn't the one who sent the email, he was the one who said, yeah, do it. It doesn't matter how unpopular I might be amongst your friends. It doesn't give you a right to do this. According to the person who leaked this information to me, shortly afterwards, they deleted all of the messages, trying to cover their tracks. Too bad for them, I already had screenshots. The only reason I saw these screenshots and know this happened is because when my mod who was in this group saw this happening, they were rightfully appalled. It's one thing to hate on Theft King, but it's another thing to start doxing him and intimidating him. According to my mod, shortly after they sent me the screenshots, the messages—
Why does he talk in third person?
Another thing to start doxing him and intimidating. The only reason I saw these screenshots and know this happened is because when my mod who was in this group saw this happening, they were rightfully appalled. It's one thing to hate on Theft King, but it's another thing to start doxing him and intimidating him. According to my mod, shortly after they sent me the screenshots, the messages were all deleted from the Discord. Clearly, they're trying to cover their tracks. Thus, I don't know exactly what was said, who participated, who saw the email. I can't know for sure. All I have is the list of the group members, so I just have to assume that all of them were equally involved. If you participate in a chat like this, that's the risk you run. Again, guys, I don't make drama videos anymore. I just make FNAF VHS and horror response videos. They're lots of fun and people really like them. These videos aren't controversial. It's not a big deal. I don't understand why this is still going on. This is not the video I wanted to make today. I'm working on a FNAF VHS video. I have sponsorships coming up. I have contracts. This sucks, okay? I hate this. This is also not gonna perform nearly as well as my FNAF VHS videos, so believe me, I'm not doing this for attention. I'm doing this for the opposite. I'm asking to be left alone. Underscore, Sleep Live, and all those other people in that chat. Leave me alone. Please, I'm asking you to leave me alone.
I'm sympathetic to him because he was a little bit, but I probably would have just ignored this. Like if someone, I don't know, if someone uploaded like a video of my gaming footage and it like upload, I probably would have just ignored it. That probably would have been a better way to go about it.
Underscore, Sleep Live.
Stole my outro. Just kidding. Meta irony. I feel like there's not a lot of evidence here that he actually was involved, this Sleep Live guy. And that my prediction is that in this video, Theft King lied to you about me. I predict that he's going to basically claim that Theft King is being irresponsible and that he wasn't actually involved. Top comments say, I guess we're just going to overlook the fact that you've roped in a smaller content creator who was asleep at the time and didn't even do anything to you. While doxing is never okay, you should at least watch Sleep's response. The ball's in your court if you choose to play it. I understand that someone getting your personal email is definitely not okay, but you repeated several times that talking about the situation is going to make more people just talk about it even more. And that's what you're doing, talking about the situation, wanting to do it more, not to mention that even bringing that up alone will cause even more people to harass you. Many members of the group chat were not trying to dox you, only Underscore, so why are you saying that entire group chat was trying to dox and most of the chat members were either unaware or unconfused? Is that unconfutable is about the situation? Unconfutable. I don't think it's a word. I guess we're supposed to ignore, yeah. Hey, you roped in a few people who had nothing to do with it. You'll never in your life win a Twitter argument. Yeah, well, you don't win on Twitter anyway. Even if you think you win, you don't win because you're on Twitter. The community's toxic and hates me. Don't lie about people then. I would have not made this video probably. If I was dealing with this, I probably wouldn't just not made it. But we'll watch Sleep Live's response. Let's see what he has to say.
Sleep Live is a Theft King content creator who makes videos about Theft King. Sleep Live is not a creator who I know. I've never seen any of their videos and I've only spoken to them once very, very briefly. However, they have continually made videos about me, presumably because they're the only videos they've ever made that have ever gotten any attention. Fine, if people want to make videos about me, that's okay, they're entitled to. I wish they wouldn't, of course, but like, it's their right, I can't stop them. However, this crosses a line. To obtain my personal information, start sharing it around, and using it to intimidate and harass me, that's not acceptable.
This man is a liar. Hello everyone, Sleep here, and welcome back to, I guess, another drama video since I'm the Theft King YouTuber. Recently, I've had a number of accusations thrown my way in terms of doxing and apparently leaking personal information on Theft King's side. And so I'm here to clear up any misinformation being spread by Theft King and his pretty dog-ass video that he released recently that basically claims I was in a chat attempting to troll him and dox him. I honestly felt like the shit with Theft King was done and over with. And so I wasn't really looking to make another video on this dude. But since he decided to basically throw accusations of me committing a crime, I feel the need to respond to this dude. So let's break down the situation from the beginning.
Oreo. True, lime yellow. Very true.
To now, and where we are, and what was basically going on with this whole thing. So around sometime last month when I released my video on Theft King, I got a couple of DMs from some of his ex-moderators telling me that there was a couple of weird things going around. I also got a lot of DMs from his editor just claiming that there was a lot of weird like shipping going on with him and an underage teenager, and so I just wanted to completely like look into the information and make sure like the sources were verifiable, because I only really felt like covering Theft King if something like horrible happened. I was basically done with the Theft King situation, and if he was like, I don't know, encouraging like a minor getting shipped within on his Discord, well, that's a major issue, and I would like to cover it, just so I could call him out on this behavior if it turns out to be true. So what I did was I interviewed his previous editor, Just Costi, who was the one making the claims that there was some weird shipping stuff going on in his Discord. He told me his side of
This guy's a furry already losing points. True.
the story, and I was like, okay, sounds a little shaky. I'll talk to some of his old moderators that have contacted me and put them in this group chat so I could figure out the full story. Transparency's sake, I'm currently recording, just so like any information here is just like, if I need it, I have it, just so I have all the resources I need with this whole situation. And so, all right, I'm mostly interested in the aspect of you being shipped with Kane Carter or whatever, because you mentioned that in our DMs. And so,
no. With Theft
or not
King,
Kane
not
Carter.
Kane Carter.
Sorry, there's a whole other thing I'm dealing with. You mentioned that.
I hate this drama. I fucking hate.
I hate furries.
Yeah, you were being shipped with like Theft King on the Discord server, and so since then, me and
shipping drama,
what's his name, went on, and we've talked with a couple of his mods, his ex mods and stuff, and they seem to say otherwise. And so I'm wondering if there's like any evidence you could like bring to corroborate, like you know what I mean, to kind of back up your claims about like this whole like Theft King shipping thing. I'm
gonna be honest with you, Sleep Live, your video's too boring for me to watch, so you lost the drama, I think, on that alone. I think you lost because you were just too boring. I don't want to watch this. Just skip. It's all just Discord calls with people. Okay, we're gonna skip past the Discord call part.
From what I ever saw.
Do you comes from other moderators that used to work for Theft, with one of the moderators being a mod that like destroyed his server or something? Like there was like some whole thing where they had like an internal rebellion. I don't know, the dude has horrible trust issues with his moderators, I guess. I decided to make the group chat like a hub for any ex-moderator to come in and basically tell their story, and if anything like incriminating came out, me and Reloylan would basically make a follow-up video covering said thing. The chat was kind of inactive, not much people really talked in there, and a couple of people just told their story, left. They're like, okay, well, I'm mostly done just associating with Theft King in this whole situation. I'm ready to move on. But randomly, last night, or I guess yesterday, there was a situation where two of the moderators went on and proceeded to talk about this plan they had where they released this video that was basically just a straight rip of one of his videos. Kind of similar to what I did with my Walter White thumbnail video where I just archived his stream because I knew it wasn't going to be public for long. But they took it a step further, and essentially they made it so they baited Theft into striking them, and then they proceeded to get his personal information, like his email, through this whole thing. And they had this weird plan where they were gonna like spam him with different emails and release it to the public, and it was this whole fucked up situation that I didn't approve of, and a lot of other people didn't approve of, resulting in a lot of people leaving the group chat. Now, quick little detail you guys might have missed while I was telling this whole thing: I wasn't involved in releasing the emails or anything. I had nothing to do with the email being released, nor did I approve of it. Do I even have to mention the fact that you tried to pull some shit trying to say I was making fun of your addiction with the Walter White thumbnail? Like, are you fucking joking at this point? I had no fucking idea you were addicted to heroin at some point. Cool, you got over it. Good on you, dude. Happy to see it. I'm all for self-improvement, and you'd know that if you watched my first video where I was pretty lenient on you. I give you a little bit of shit, but I wanted your improvement.
This reminds me of like old like Turkey Tom drama I used to be involved in like 6 years ago, like Mr. Enter shit, you know? Mr. Enter, Megadupe TV, that kind of community that I was involved in. cartoon community. Okay, well, I don't know. Is there more Theft King lore I should know? It seems to me like someone was in a group chat and he extrapolated that. He knowingly claimed that the dude was involved in something that he wasn't involved in. And then he said that he was like making fun of his heroin addiction, which wasn't the case. That seems like about it. I mean, it's not a good look for Theft King, but I don't know. I'm not going to pretend to be personally invested. There's more? What's the more? I'll go on Twitter and I'll type in Theft King. Liar bully. Wow. Sensitive society. Guys, sensitive society. We got to watch this video about it. Let's see what he had to say.
A YouTuber whose content I really enjoy reached out to me to look into this YouTuber called the Theft King, and prior to his DM I had no idea what a Theft King was, but the more and more I looked into this YouTuber, the worse things got. In my opinion, this is something that needs to be talked about by more creators, because what this YouTuber is doing is straight up clown behavior at its finest. Theft King is a Five Nights at Freddy YouTuber who makes content for little kids who will believe anything you tell them. These kids are so young, they will believe you if you tell them the crayon you're holding is blue despite it being red. That's how young these people are. I truly believe the oldest Theft King fan has to be 11. I think once you turn 12, you automatically unsubscribe from his disgusting, shitty YouTube channel. And I don't think I've mentioned this, but King is a 30-year-old man who makes content for little kids. But that's not the reason why I'm making this video in the first place.
I kind of don't care about that point. It's like, you can be a children's, if you make like cartoons and you're an adult, are you like a loser or a weirdo? I think you can make content for kids. That's whatever. That's kind of nothing. It feels like front loading. It feels like kind of front loading this situation with a bunch of unrelated shit that doesn't really matter.
Leave YouTube now. You're not doing any favors by being here. And that was just one of many tweets that I found of people just following Theft King to him. And before we get into it further, I have to mention the following, which is really important. Theft King loves to manipulate people. He used to be a drug addict. To be more specific,
society think his audience is like 12, 13 maybe.
Heroin. And whenever he's in drama, controversy, people call him out, he always pulls the heroin card. Guys, I used to be an addict. Guys, I used to have a problem. Guys, drug problem to deflect criticism for so long. And now we can get into the reason why I'm making this video. In March of 2023, 2mods deleted Theft King's Discord server, just trolling him, just to fuck with him. And I actually have the DMs showing all of this going down. Someone says, "Want to hear something interesting?" Sure. I posted a video the other day on my second channel of footage I stole from the Theft King. Just another day in the Theft King's private email. And if this is such a big deal, just make a new one. And this has been going on for days. So he's tweeting, "For the record, these are the non-credible threads." And this guy who has 300,000 subscribers, who's a successful YouTuber, has the great idea to engage with him. And that is the worst thing you can do. If you engage with the trolls, you're gonna get fucked. It's that simple. If you're doing good, if your channel's doing great, why get involved with these people? That's simple, dude. You're only giving them more fuel. But what he did next was beyond stupid and ridiculous. On March 27th, he dropped a video called "I'm being doxxed and harassed by other FNAF YouTubers." Right off the bat, once again, I think that title is cap. That's not doxing. Doxing is not finding your email because you took someone's video down. And once again, if the hate is too much, make a new one. It's not that difficult, dude.
These videos aren't controversial. It's not a big deal. I don't understand why this is still going on. This is not the video I wanted to make today. I'm working on a FNAF VHS video. I have sponsorships coming up. I have contracts. This sucks, okay? I hate this. I'm
fine, but go after the actual people who
they've ever made that have ever
falsely struck down a video of mine that had original footage and commentary from me. Theft King responded with, "Sue me." Sleep replied with, "Better see a good sit on you."
Oh shit. Hello Theft, I'm here because you have falsely struck down a video of mine that had original footage and commentary from me alongside blatantly lying and slandering me on your channel and Twitter. I would highly recommend retracting your strike, as I have a lawyer look over this and we have confirmed this is breaking several copyright laws. Maybe actually watch the fucking content you're striking next time, dipshit. Also, thanks for literally lying about me leaking your email and sending harassment. It was hilarious when you, a literal white dude, came at me saying I was sending Nazi shit your way. Okay, he is Jewish, I mean, in fairness. It's insane how delusional you are, though. You are through all of this. And you think you can just blatantly lie about me to your significantly larger audience. It's insane. They'll find out. Theft King says, "Sue me." Sleep says, "Better get a good suit in your ass when I see it." The Sleep is not going to sue him, dude. If you sue someone over Discord, over drama this dumb, like, it does suck, but it's not like your career is at stake. I'm just saying. He's not going to sue him.
Once again, he's lying to his fans on YouTube who are little kids, and now he's lying to his little fans on Twitter. This guy's a fucking snake. This guy's slimy as fuck. He always cuts context. He doesn't give you the full story, and he's pretending like he's the victim. You're not the victim, dude. Slandering him in front of 100,000 people, slandering him on Twitter, and I honestly wouldn't be shocked if Theft King is back on heroin because the way he's acting, it's not really that calculated.
What the fuck? Dude, you cannot say that, bro. Jesus. What the Listen, that's kind of funny, but this video sucks. You can't say that shit, dude. That is No, that's not okay. That's not. It's kind of funny, but it's like it's also fucked up to say that to someone who's a heroin addict. Like, what the sense of society? You have no chill, dude. That came out of nowhere.
The way he's acting, it's not really that calculated. Something's off about this dude. I don't know if he's back to doing heroin at the Walmart parking lot at night. That could be the case. Sleepy Live is innocent, and the last thing he deserves is to be.
Listen, sense of society. That's a little funny, but that's not gonna help you win the drama. You don't look better now. Now he can actually say he's being harassed by you guys. You forfeited. You had one job, and it was to call him like oversensitive, call him a pussy, and instead you had to say that he's acting this way because he's on heroin. I know I'm the edgy guy. It's an edgy joke. I think it's fine. I mean, it is an edgy joke, but also like it totally undermines the whole thing. You know what I mean? Like the whole point of the drama initially was he wasn't in the group chat and he didn't make fun of his heroin addiction. Sensitive Society responds by making fun of his heroin addiction. All funny or all unfunny? I mean, I'm not trying to cancel Sensitive Society. I'm not trying to say he can't say that legally. I'm not trying to cancel him. I don't think he should be deleted from YouTube. That isn't harassment. I don't know if it's harassment, but you probably shouldn't say that if the whole point of the video is that like he's not a victim and then you like play into his victim complex by making fun of his heroin addiction. That's not good. Owned, but you do make a good point. It's, I don't know, kind of hypocritical is the right word. I don't know if hypocritical is the right word, but it's definitely counterproductive. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's harassment, but now the guy has an excuse to say it's harassment, and you can't even argue with him at this point because the initial claim was, I'm being harassed and made fun of for my heroin addiction. No one did that. But now Sensitive Society did. Like, now Theft King is going to make a video being like, I'm being harassed by all these YouTubers. And you know what? Fine. Maybe it's fair that video was actually, that video from Sleep Live was actually uploaded on a different date. But following this, to support him, Sensitive Society uploaded a video and made fun of my heroin addiction. Like, that doesn't look good. I don't think it's that big of a deal, the joke itself. Obviously, I'm the edgy guy, gamer words and all, that's fine. The joke is kind of funny. I get it. But if you're trying to win a drama, which it would seem that that's his goal here, Sensitive Society, it definitely hurts your case, right? That's what I'm saying. Does that make sense? I'm not trying to cancel him. The joke, honestly, to be honest, doesn't totally sit right with me either, but I'm not really gonna throw a fit about it because I don't really care. You can joke about sensitive stuff. In this drama in particular, like, it's not a good idea to, you know, it just doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. I'm not sure it was edgy and it was overly obvious it was a joke when he elaborates doing drugs in the Walmart parking lot. The fact that he elaborates, to me, shows more that it's a joke, to be honest, because obviously, like, the Walmart parking lot, like, that increases the joke.
This guy's slimy as fuck. He always cuts context. He doesn't give you the full story, and he's pretending like he's the victim. You're not the victim, dude. Slandering him in front of
the thing is, you can say he's not the victim, but now he can say he is the victim. Like, now you like, right after saying you're not the victim, you say, and you act this way because you're addicted, and you act this way because you are addicted to heroin. Like, you just lost. You didn't have to say that. You didn't have to say that. But now the public, when Sleep King makes a video about this, which he probably will because you fucked up good, now he's going to have an excuse to say he's being harassed. Don't get me wrong. I like dark humor. I think it's kind of funny. Like, I do think it's kind of funny. But, doesn't look good. Doesn't look good at all.
I don't know if he's back to doing heroin at the Walmart parking lot at night. That could be the case. Sleepy Live is innocent, and the last thing he deserves is to be slandered and for his videos to be taken down by this fucking egomaniac that is known as the Theft King.
All I know about Sleep Live is that they made a drama video about me with Walter White in the thumbnail, which is kind of a dick thing to do to someone who's a recovering heroin addict, but whatever. I didn't care about that. I care about this. This needs to stop. _Sleep Live, Hydrated, everyone else in this group, please leave me alone. Asking you to leave me alone. Get assholes.
If there's something that pisses me off is when these big YouTube creators think they could get away with bullying or slandering smaller channels, lying to their fans.
Yeah, I mean, overall, general message, I agree with Sleep Live. I agree with Sleep Live. Sensitive Society had his moment, but he kind of blew it with this because whether or not I think the joke is funny, like, optically in this situation, he just allowed Theft King to actually win. Because now Theft King can be like, I'm being harassed or whatever. And if he wants to win this drama, I wouldn't even blame him for saying that because at this point it's like, well, his problem was that someone made fun of his heroin addiction. At least that was one of the 2-3 problems he had, right? You can say the other 2 are illegitimate, sure. But now you made fun of his heroin addiction. Like, oy vey, think of the optics. You can joke about this all you want, but end of the day, if you want to genuinely win a drama, which Sleep Live is obviously concerned with doing because he wants to look good and look like he's not being a dick or harassing this guy unjustifiably, if you want to look good, then you have to care about that to an extent, right? That's clearly the intention here. I'm not super concerned with optics myself. You know, I'm not in these people's position. I'm not gonna go out of my way to shit on Sensitive Society and say he's like harassing Theft King. I wouldn't call it harassment, but Theft King is absolutely gonna respond saying this is, and like he kind of gave it to, he kind of handed it to him on a silver platter, you know what I mean? Like, Sensitive Society, I don't know why he said that. I don't know why he said that. Well, that's probably my thoughts on this whole situation. I'll see you all later.